People talk about stubbornness like it's a flaw, but sometimes your stubbornness is the only reason you didn't lose yourself. The same stubbornness that helps you survive can also stop you from growing. Being stubborn can either protect your identity or trap your ego. Hey guys, it's Kiwan. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and being here. I appreciate it so much. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about stubbornness and knowing when it's wisdom and knowing when it's fear. So let's get right into it. Now, this video isn't about becoming less stubborn. It's about discernment, knowing when standing firm protects you and when it blocks your growth. Now, let's get into the positives and the negatives of stubbornness. Now, the positive side of being stubborn, stubbornness can be a form of self-trust, not being so easily manipulated, standing on your morals and boundaries, staying committed to your goals, protecting your individuality, and not folding under peer pressure. Some people call you stubborn when you simply refuse to portray yourself. A lot of successful people were stubborn enough to keep believing in something nobody else understood yet. Now here are the negative sides of being stubborn and how that can become very harmful. Refusing to listen because of pride, rejecting advice automatically, staying in unhealthy situations just to prove a point, confusing ego with intuition, and thinking changing your mind means weakness. Sometimes stubbornness isn't strength. Sometimes it's fear wearing armor. Now, growth requires flexibility. Trees that never bend eventually break. Now, here's the balance and the discernment of being stubborn. Now, the wisdom is knowing when to stand firm, when to adapt, when to listen, and when to walk away from opinions that don't align. You could ask yourself, am I protecting my peace or am I protecting my ego? Am I standing firm in my truth or am I afraid to be wrong? Is this boundary healthy or is it emotional resistance? Just ask yourself those questions. Okay, so here's a time where stubbornness protected me. So this is back when I worked my 9 to 5. Okay, so I was like delivering a tray, but as I was delivering the tray, it was just like you know the people that like clean the floors with the big machine and like they go around and like clean the floors. Yeah, it was like one of them. And then as I was delivering the tray, I have like this big cart of trays that I'm delivering to the patients. And I take it out. And then as I'm, knocking on the door, doing my protocols, the hand sanitizer, doing all that, knocking on the door, and it's like very loud. Like that machine is like very loud. So like I asked the patient, can I come in? Food service. And then I hear behind me, yo, move, move. And I'm no, I gotta deliver this tray first. Like, I'm not gonna move until after I deliver this tray. And then he says, yo, I need you to move. I need you to move. Being all dismissive and things like that. I was just like, wait. So then I go into the patient's room, give them their tray. As soon as when I come out, my carts move from here to there. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I wasn't moving it. And in that moment, I felt like really like an intense feeling in my stomach. It was just like an uncomfortable feeling, like, bro. But like that moment taught me like not move so easily or stand firm and when I was gonna move, and especially like when he wasn't acting nicely, like I need you to move, like that tone is just no. And it just taught me to just like stay calm those types of situations and don't lose myself, don't go out of myself, don't move my cart for this person because he could have waited. He could have waited, and he did wait. Now here's a time where stubbornness delayed my growth. It's like I can think of many examples, but it's mostly like with me and my mother. Like if we're talking about like a situation or like something or like how I could have done this differently, she always like tells me how I could have done it this way. But I was like, no, I'm gonna do it my way. But actually her way, works better or, just works overall. And I was just like, yeah, I could have done it like that. But I didn't listen because, at that time I was, you know, being stubborn, the shadow side. And now here are some moments where actually listening helped me evolve. Now I'm a very open-minded person, but sometimes the stubbornness, like the shadow side, it kicks in. Like I'm gonna do it my way. That kicks in. But sometimes when I actually sit down and listen and like, hear the person out and then open my mind and like, okay, that perspective could have worked. Like when I was talking to a person, I used to like didn't really listen to what they were saying. I was just like thinking like the next thing I was going to say, just to prove my point. Yeah, I used to do that. And it wasn't very helpful for me because it kept my mind closed. It kept me one-sided instead of seeing both sides or seeing all. But then as I listened more and like when I actually started to open up my mind more, Like I started listening to the person and like seeing what they had to say and like, okay, I hear you. I hear you. I see why they chose this side, or I see why they believe that. I begin to see both sides. And that moment actually helped me stay more open to hearing people out instead of closing myself off to their opinion. Now, your stubbornness becomes a superpower when it's guided by self awareness instead of ego. And guys, let me know what you think. Do you think your stubbornness protects you more or holds you back more? We can talk about it in the comments. If you resonated and want to join the Kiwis, you're welcome here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. Stay tuned. Don't become so open minded that you lose yourself, but don't become so stubborn that you stop evolving, okay?